What's going on, guys? Naz here on the Spooling Up channel. Got a couple things to do on the Golf. Again, little maintenance things, nothing major. Going to be doing the alternator belt and the tensioner because it started to make a little bit of a rattling sound and the belt's looking cracked. Why not change it while I'm changing the tensioner anyway? So going to go ahead and whack these on. Should be pretty simple. I think I actually had to remove the belt before when I was doing something. I can't remember exactly what it was I was doing, but I had to remove the belt. So I know it's not that difficult. I've got a few tools with me in the boot. Going to go ahead and crack this out and then give it a run up and make sure everything's good. I bought these bits online. I've not yet checked that they're definitely right, so time will tell when I strip them off and compare them, but let's go ahead and get them on. So welcome to the engine bay. Let's go down to the tensioner. You can see just here it's held on by three 13mm bolts. I'll show you exactly where those bolts are when I take the new one out, because it will give you a really good idea of where to look. And then obviously here's the belt. Not sure how well you can see the cracking on it, but obviously this is the alternator. We have the aircon down the bottom there, and then it's driven down on the crank side right at the bottom. Maybe a bit too dark for you to see, but yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at this new one anyway. Right, let's have a look. Lovely stuff, nice and shiny, ready to go on. Should look good in the engine bay. Give it a little bit more, well, it's not exactly bling, but it's just a lot cleaner than the old one, so we'll go ahead, be replacing that. Obviously new belt as well, fingers crossed it's correct, but only time will tell. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start stripping the old tensioner out. Right guys, so first things first, the thing I need to do is get the tensioner here and take all the tension off the belt. So I need to slack it off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 16mm spanner on this piece here and just pull it this way to take the tension off the belt. And then we've got the 3 bolts just on top down there that I'm going to have to undo. But what I'm going to do is, once I take all the tension off the belt, there is a hole here and a hole here. Once I get them lined up, I'm going to slide the Allen key through, and that will hold the tensioner in place. Alright, so now as you can see, I've got the Allen key going through, tension is held in place, and the belt is now slack. So at this point the belt can actually be removed. Should be pretty simple. Just pull it off the pulleys and away we go. Now I have the old belt off. In actual fact, to be honest with you, it's not too bad condition wise, but you know, we have a new one, so I'm gonna go ahead, fit that, but first I'm gonna have to strip the old tensioner off. Okay, so now that we have the belt off, you can see the 3 bolts up here that secure the tensioner on. First things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that pin and let the tensioner release. Otherwise, once it's off the car, it's going to be impossible. So while it's held and secured to the engine, I'm going to remove that pin now, and then I'll go back and I'll start removing my 3 bolts. 1, 2, and then the 3rd one down the bottom here. Okay guys, here we have the old and the new tensioners side by side. It was a tiny bit tight down there at one point, just trying to get the bolts off, but it's time to get the new tensioner on. So I'm going to go ahead, slide it back down there into place, get bolting it up, and then we'll start trying to put the new belt on. Right guys, so when you are getting the new tensioner all lined up and bolted into place, you need to make sure that this little black bracket that holds the coolant pipes on stays on the outside of the tensioner, not in between the tensioner and the mounting plate on the block, because otherwise it will leave your tensioner sitting at an angle. So what you need to do is make sure that this bracket It goes on the outside and the bolts go through it, and then you can tighten it all up. Okay, so the tension is done up now, all looking good there, in place, nice and shiny. All that's left to do is to get this pulled back, locked in place, so I can go and get my new belt on. So just gonna lock that back in place here and then get the belt on. Okay, so everything down there is now locked into place. All I need to do is get the belt on, remove the pin, allow the tensioner to do its job, start it up, and we should be all good. Right, so I'm pretty sure we're done now. I've got the belt sitting on all the pulleys. It's taken the correct route. The tension's there, so I think the last thing to do is just run it up and make sure that it runs all good, and then we're done. Right guys, that's it, another job done. Nice and easy. It's just a pain because it's cold at the moment, so all the tools are freezing cold. I was working in a cold engine bay, you know, everything just hurts, but at least it's done. It's not too fiddly, and at least it's cheap. I think I paid about 60 quid all in all for that tensioner and for the belt. Needed to be done because the other one was starting to make a little bit of a rattling noise, so at least that's fixed now. I can move on to other things, guys, but thanks for coming to watch the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.